We are not vegetables with a sell-by date on a supermarket shelf. I think you can keep doing it for as long as you believe in what you're doing.
You're watching Hustler Stories with Ambika, Anand, and my guests today are David and Rakesh from the brand Abraham and Thakore. What does the term hustle mean to you?
To hustle is to keep moving, I guess, and to try to achieve something.
What, according to you, makes an entrepreneur?
An entrepreneur is somebody who believes enough in himself to start a new business.
And did you always have the drive since both of you were young?
To be honest, not really. It's only after I'd worked, I think, for many years that I suddenly realized that I didn't enjoy being an employee and that I'd far rather work for myself.
And what about you?
The same, actually, yeah. It was really a process that we actually did conceive as working for ourselves.
You founded your business in the year 1992. Looking back at your career, what do you wish you had done differently?
I guess there are a lot of things, because I think we came in to a business, with our design training, we started a business without any business acumen. So we learned along the way and made terrible mistakes in terms of business decisions. So I think sometimes that's a bit of regret, but I didn't come from that background.
But what mistakes did you make?
I think without understanding business, you make mistakes that affect you financially. You make mistakes that perhaps affect your long-term strategy.
But what did you do? Did you guys produce too much? Did you kind of invest in something which was not being used? What kind of
I think it was really more turning down opportunities which have really benefited us. There were things that we were asked to do for certain clients which we should have agreed to but didn't because we were quite egotistic, and then you make a decision that's based on your creative training, not necessarily on a business training which is more pragmatic. So those are not good decisions.
How has it all evolved since you first began?
I think it's a long process.
You started the brand in 1992. So how did it start and how did things kind of fall into place?
We have taken many risks and we've actually moved along and grown through that process.
Tell us about the risks you took.
I think you take a lot of risks. I think you take a lot of risks when you believe that you have the capacity to do things on your own, when you take these sort of risks, when you leave a comfortable job to start a business, you're taking a lot of risk.
But considering you did that, and back then in 1992, people were they into fashion and design, and how was it? Was it, because going away from a job where you have a monthly income to versus creating your own business in a world where fashion was not commonplace?
Well, the thing is, we didn't really work. We really designed and made product and sold purely in, London was our base actually for the first 10 years.
Wow, you both lived in London?
No, we lived here.
Okay.
But we went up and down with suitcases.
Wow.
And lived between both Delhi and London. And it was a very established business in the UK, so there was no concern about that there.
Yeah.
So it's not something that we encountered. Fashion in India wasn't really on the chart. In the conversation at that point, but it did become later.
So when you started, what were you doing for the convent shop? Right?
Well, that was the first store that we started working with loungewear and accessories. Then we expanded into home textiles. We launched a fashion collection and worked with a shop called Brown's, which became our agent for several years, and then we launched it and we used to sell in a lot of stores in the UK. That was really the business.
And then when did you start focusing in India?
We started selling in India before that. We'd opened a couple of shops, but it was not the main focus. I think it was after the big economic collapse of 2008, which shook a lot of businesses, and especially the fashion business, especially our end of fashion business, which was very sort of aimed at small scale, small luxury retailers who got very badly affected. That's when we realized that it'd be wiser to have a strong home market.
And then what did you do in 2008? You set up your first retail
Well,
store?
we had stores already, but we paid more attention to them, and we did our first ever fashion show in 2010.
How do you innovate and stand out in an industry as old as fashion?
Well, that's something that I think we really do stand out for what we believe in. That's one of the key reasons that how we've also been able to survive, because each time that we do, whether it's a collection on the ramp, is something that we have something to say, and that's how we've actually survived.
What, according to you, is the secret sauce to a brand having staying power?
You know, I've been asked this question a lot recently. And you know, we're not vegetables with a sell-by date on a supermarket shelf. I think you can keep doing it for as long as you believe in what you're doing. I don't think time or age has anything to do with it. If you do what you do honestly, and I don't want to say good at it, but I think if you're fairly good at it, I think it's irrespective whether it's 10 years, 5 years, 6 weeks or 30 years.
Take us through the origin story of your brand.
Both Rakesh and I, of course, we'd been classmates and batchmates at the NID, so we knew each other from much before. But I think we were at a particular point in our lives when we both realized it was important for us to start our own business. And of course, we were also unemployed at that time, so it made sense. And we just started, and then shortly later after that, Kevin joined us. So there were the three of us. The origin story was we had made a small collection of loungewear and accessories, and we were wondering how to get started with that. And Mr. Bissell, the owner of Fab India, brought the buying director of the Conran shop to my apartment, which is my apartment in Defence Colony was actually our office, because we operated out of my bedroom. And she placed the first order, so that's the origin story.
How nice.
And that launched the brand in London.
Did you ever think back then when you got the first order that your business would scale up to what it is today?
You know, we never really worked with a big master plan. I think we just took each season as it came. I think it was just a very organic growth.
It is said that you learn more from failure than from success. Is that true? Has it happened to you?
You know, you learn that when you manufacture, like certain things don't work, certain colors don't work, you make decisions about the quality of material that may not be correct, things like that. But I think if you do your research, and if you tend to be quite sort of conscientious about what you do, those mistakes are usually rectified.
But any risk three of you took together that, you know...
I think starting the business was a risk. I mean, employing people is a risk. I think banking your entire professional life and your financial stability on creativity is always a risk every season. Because we live by ideas. We don't have a concrete, it's not something that you can calculate. It's not calculable in many ways. So I think it's always an element of risk. The only great thing is, of course, with experience, you begin to, through learning, you manage to make it less risky.
What, according to you, is the most spot-on way to market your business?
I think the best way to market your business is to be honest. I don't think you can beat that. I don't think it's possible you can't go on fibbing about something year after year, season after season. You have to know exactly what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. You do what you can do.
What have you enjoyed the most about the entire process?
I love the act of creativity. I love new designs. That always excites me. It excites me as much now as it did 30 years ago. Seeing a new design, seeing a new fabric, seeing a new shapes. I mean, I take great joy in that. That never changes.
I have to ask you, what's the advice that you would have for anybody starting out?
Be true to yourself. Be honest. And don't get carried away by... to do something because you want to impress somebody is never a way you're going to go on. You're never going to succeed. I think you have to do what you really love doing.
If you could take us through some of your key pieces.
Of course, there are very many key pieces, but I think maybe we can talk about the ones that we just presented in our latest show last week. I think one piece that was really interesting was a laser cut sari that we did, which was made out of recycled polyester ripstop and created a sort of lace-like pattern. I think that was very interesting. That's one. Another piece which I really thought was interesting was a man's ensemble, which was a jacket, a shirt, a tie and a dhoti, all in the same pattern, which is a sort of quip on, you know, the Western suit, playing around that idea. The other piece which I think was really interesting was because the collection was concerned with communication, and it was playing with the elements of communication. Was an ikat fabric that we developed, which was the binary code 0110, and there was a trench coat and a pair of trousers with that. So those were three outfits, I think, which were
I saw
quite
them.
interesting.
They looked lovely.
You saw them.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.